Ndewo ndị be anyị, Igbo mụrụ nze mụọ ọzọ, ekelekwa m unu. Ọ ga-adịrị gị mma tata. Tata ga-amarị gị mma ma karịsịa ụbọchị ndị ọzọ. Ị ga-eje eje na-abata abata. Ihe ọbụla na-achụ gị kama ọ ga-eri isi gị, ya na-adụgo ogbu gị. Ndewo. For some time now, I've been discussing basic Igbo topics, looking at Igbo alphabet, the relevance of Igbo in unifying the thousands of Igbo dialects, and why it is important to learn Igbo language, especially in this time. This is a tough period for the survival of so many languages. And Asusu IGBO is one of the rare languages of the world that are under threat of extinction. This is not coming from me. This is coming from the experts. This is coming from international organizations who have taken many years to study the dynamics of so many languages, the evolution of so many languages, and they have come out with such findings. And I can't do less than to concur with their conclusion, because over the years, over the decades, Igbo language has been phasing out little by little. But we have the duty to do something about it, to put things in order and correct this anomaly. It is an anomaly because nobody, no living being should allow his or her language to go into extinction. Igbo language is our pride. Igbo language is our language. Igbo language is the language of the wonderful people of Igbos. And we have the obligation to keep this language alive and growing every day. I tell you, Igbo is interesting. Igbo is amazing. Igbo is a language with so much depth and complexities, and is actually the complexity of the language that makes it beautiful and amazing. Igbo language is very diverse. Igbo language is an ancient language, a language full of linguistic spices, ilu, akpaaloku, okavilu, and so many wise sayings. Chetakwa na ilu bụ mmanụ ndị Igbo ji eri okwu, the oil with which Igbos eat their words. So we have the duty, the obligation to keep this language alive, to sustain this language, so that our ancestors will be proud of us. Remember, dịka onye Igbo, you have the duty, the obligation to make your forefathers proud. Ka obi nna gị ghara ichi, Obiechina. Remember that name, Obiechina. The name of your father, the reputation, the work, the effort of your ancestors towards keeping, maintaining, and sustaining this language in their time, and even passing it on to this modern generation, should not be in vain. So many people have worked hard to make the Igbo language what it is today. I'm not saying in terms of, forcing people to learn it. Okay. What I mean here is people have struggled, they worked hard against the threat that the language experienced over the years, especially from the time of the British colonization of Nigeria till date. Remember, when English language came, it almost subjugated all the other indigenous languages. And Igbo was one of them because our people were so stubborn to live the ways of their ancestors. So the pressure on them to abandon Igbo increased. Yet, our forefathers, they kept to it, they maintained and carried on as many culture practices, traditions, and even the language as much as they can against all the setbacks. So we have the duty as the people of the 21st century to carry on this torch handed over to us. So Asusu Igbo bụ ezigbo asụsụ, asụsụ mara mma, asụsụ kara aka, asụsụ dị omimi. You may not really know the diversity of Igbo language if you have not taken time to meditate on the beauty of this language. You see, I'm saying this with all confidence because with the little I know, because I tell you, you cannot know everything about Igbo language. With the much I know about Asusu Igbo, it gives peace of mind when you express yourself in Igbo language. It makes communication flow freely. And if you start incorporating idioms and proverbs, wise sayings, while speaking, writing, or addressing people, you realize that Igbo is even much more interesting. So if our language is such a highly sought after language, why then are we reluctant to speak it? Why then are we reluctant to make use of this language when discussing with people at home, when talking to our children, or when making movies or singing? So we have a duty to rise to the demands of our time. We have the responsibility to keep the engine running. And with the advancement of technology, we're even much more privileged to promote Igbo language because you have media, you have social media, you have digital technologies, you have different communication channels through which you can promote Asusu Igbo. And if you have formed the habit of always speaking foreign languages, I think it's high time you cut down on that and start using your indigenous Igbo language. But if you still find it difficult to learn Igbo, I'm here for you. I am here for you. That's actually what I'm here to do, to teach you Igbo language so that you learn to read. Not just to read, but to write, to speak, and to listen and hear very well. So the earlier, the better. Ka anyị were ehihie chụwa ewu ojii maka na chi jie ewu a na-eji kpimkpim ọ ga-esi ike ịnweta. Biko nụ ndị be anyị, ka anyị kwụọ ọnụ mmiri a mgbe ọ ka dị n'obe ọkpa, maka na ọ bụ onye mmiri fụrụ ụkwụ ya ka ọ na-eri. Mmiri nwere ike iri anyị bụ ịhapụ asụsụ anyị wee na-asụ sụpịrị sụpịrị kwa mgbe. Hapụ ọmarịcha asụsụ Chineke nna nyere anyị ka anyị were na-akparịta ụka, ka anyị were na-ekwupụta okwu, na-egosipụta ebumnuche anyị. Ọ bụrụ na anyị hapụ ya, ọ ga-adịkwa egwu maka na ọ bụrụ na ụdara onye isi tụtụtara dapụrụ ya n'aka ka ịkwana anya ọ ga-eji wee tụtụta ọzọ. Biko ka anyị ghara ibu ozu enyi n'isi anyị ewere ụkwụ na-achụ oke. Onye unu ya na-agba ọkụ, biko mana ga na-achụ oke mba wa. So let's take action now. I have a few recommendations for you. I'm not against you speaking other languages. You have your English, your German, your Korean, your Chinese, your Russian, all sort of languages a lot of people have learned and still learning nowadays. You have them. You see, this is a globalized world. So you are free to learn as many languages as you can. But biko, make sure you master your own indigenous language first. Maka na a na-ebido n'ụlọ amara mma tupu apụwa n'ama. That is my point. Ebe a ka m na-ebe akwa na-alụ aka. Maka na ebe nwata na-ebe akwa na-alụ aka, nne ya anọghị ya, nna ya nọrọ ya. Ebe a ka m na-ebe akwa na-ebesie ike na-alụ aka. While you learn other foreign languages, make sure you learn your indigenous language as well. It may not be your first, it may not be your second or your last, but make sure you have a high proficiency in your indigenous language. Maka na ọ ga-abụkwa ihere na akpọpụta gị n'ọgbọsị gị nna ebe nwata bụ onye, and you start addressing the audience in a foreign language. Maybe you have not had an experience of how disgusting it makes one feel when you are out there and people are expecting so much from you. As nwa amụrụ n'ụlọ, ịkwụrụ ọtọ wee wuo onwe gị n'ala, wuo ezinụlọ gị n'ala, wuo nna gị ha n'ala. Ọ ihere, ọ jọgburu udene ma sigbuo nkakwu. Mana ka ị ga-esi wee kwa onye okwu wara, gee m ntị. Maka na tata bụ gboo. First, take Igbo courses. Ọ bụrụ na Igbo na-esiri gị ike, if you still find Igbo language difficult, ọ bụrụ na Igbo na-esiri gị ike na ọ tara gị akpụ ịmụta, first enroll in courses. If you are willing to learn and master this world-class language called Asusu IGBO, first enroll in courses. I have personally taken my time to create a comprehensive Igbo language course. And at the moment, we have the basics course ready for enrollment. And I've attached the link in the description. So you can go right away to the description or the comment section and get the link to this course and enroll. After enrolling in the course, another step you can take towards improving on your Igbo language proficiency or learning Igbo for the first time is to practice. Practice and practice. I cannot stop emphasizing on the need to always practice. Whatever you learn, put it into practice. If you learn new vocabularies, new Igbo words, expressions, wise sayings and idioms, make use of them. Do not learn and dump your knowledge or whatever you have learned. Put it into practice. That's the best way to make consistent progress over time. So as you are taking courses, you are practicing what you are taught. At home, in your workplace, on the road, at the market, in the church, anywhere you are, anywhere, anytime you get the opportunity to use Igbo, use it. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid. Okay? Obere nwa na-amụ iri enu, obi ga-esi ya ike. Obere nwa na-amụ iri enu, obi ga-esi ya ike. You are still learning. No one is expecting you to be perfect as a starter. So muster the courage to learn and make consistent progress. So take courses as you learn practice. Listen to Igbo music. Thanks to Chineke, we have so many reputable, engaging, thoughtful, philosophical music. A whole lot of them. You can start with Osadebe, Osankwa, or you can go over to Oliver the Cook. We have Oriental Brothers. We have Pamio Bunch. We have Shidodo. We have Bright Chimezie and so many other notable Igbo musicians. Listen to Igbo music. Watch Igbo movies. There are so many of them out there. There are a lot of Igbo movies that are acted with full and accurate Asusu IGBO. No mixture of English. These are the kind of movies I would recommend to you, and not the ones where they speak English Igbo. Hmm? Igbo music, Igbo movies, watch them. Listen to Igbo music, watch Igbo movies. There are also Igbo textbooks out there that you can buy and read. Igbo textbooks, Igbo novels, Igbo stories. Get them, read, practice, but more importantly, take Igbo courses. I have one for you whose link is in the description. So you can take this first step towards learning and mastering Igbo by enrolling in the course, taking the video lectures, taking the quizzes, the assignments, and the practice test. Then another step you can take towards learning Igbo language is to schedule one-on-one class with a tutor. I am a native tutor and I'm passionate about teaching you Igbo language. If you are really ready to learn, you can schedule a class with me, one-on-one online class, and I get to teach you Asusu Igbo. Teach you to the extent that you become an akochie, an expert, a pro, an okammụta n'Asusu Igbo, so that you don't have to feel ashamed of your Igbo language deficiency, so that you can muster the courage to stand in front of ụmụnna n'ihu igwe mmadụ wee gwa ha okwu, jiri Igbo wee kọwaa onwe gị, wee gbarie okwu, tapịa okwu ọnụ, wee buru kabụ enu na ilu wee wunye n'ime ya, onwe ike wee tọọ ụtọ. Ụmụnne m, tata bụ gboo, tata bụ gboo. Asụsụ Igbo amaka, asụsụ Igbo dị mma, asụsụ Igbo dị omimi, asụsụ Igbo dịkwa ụtọ, asụsụ Igbo atọka. So my people, the ball is in your court. The ball is in your court. Mmiri ruru eru ekwesịghị ime onye bịa dị nso. Ọ eziokwu na-akpachi ụwa dịka ọ naghị atụ n'ọnụ, mana nsogbu a, this problem of not being able to speak Igbo language, ịkpachinie. Open up. First, accept the fact that Igbo language is going down. And so many of our brothers and sisters have deserted the language of their forefathers to be speaking Beke and other languages. You can learn as many languages as you want to, but your own indigenous language must not be abandoned. Maka na onye kpọọ bịa mkpọkọrọ, were wee kpọọ ahịhịa. Agwọ eme ihe o ji bụrụ agwọ, ụmụaka were eke nkụ. That's why we have to do something about our language. Nke a bụ nke anyị. nke a bụ nke m. Asụsụ Igbo bụ nke gị. Asụsụ Igbo bụ nke m. We have to take it personal and promote this world-class language. Ndewo.